Stop scrolling. Forget absolutely everything you thought you knew about the Middle East. Because right now, one single, wildly wealthy nation is spending trillions to completely rewrite human history. From building absolutely impossible, hyper-futuristic sci-fi megacities directly out of the barren sand,
to violently shattering centuries of ultra-strict laws overnight to forge a radically new, modern society.
This is the absolutely shocking, untold truth about the massive, radical transformation of Saudi Arabia. Imagine a land where the sand stretches further than the eye can ever see. This is Saudi Arabia, the beating heart and the undisputed giant of the Middle East.
Spanning over 2.1 million square kilometers, it dominates the Arabian Peninsula.
It is a land of harsh extremes. Summer temperatures routinely shatter the 45-degree mark. Look closely, and you will not find a single permanent natural river or lake here. So, how does a modern nation survive and thrive without a natural water supply? They build the largest, most advanced seawater desalination plants in human history. And they draw life from deep, ancient underground aquifers hidden beneath the desert sand, creating miraculous, lush green oases right in the middle of absolute desolation, bordered by the Red Sea to the west and the Persian Gulf to the east. Its geographic location remains one of the most strategically vital on the entire planet. But it is not all heat. Head to the northern mountains in winter, and you might see snow. The geography is a breathtaking mix of volcanic craters, deep canyons, and towering rocks. Connecting these vast, empty spaces are thousands of miles of perfectly paved highways. The environment here is unforgiving, demanding absolute resilience from anyone who calls it home. Yet, humanity has not just survived here. It has built a hyper-modern global empire. The Rub al-Khali, or Empty Quarter, remains the largest continuous sand desert on Earth. Saudi Arabia's unforgiving geography shapes its destiny, its economy, and its people. To truly understand Saudi Arabia, you must first understand its ancient, beating soul. This land is the undisputed cradle of the Islamic faith, sacred to over 1 billion people.
It is home to Mecca and Medina, the two holiest cities in the entire Islamic world.
Mecca, the birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad, draws the faithful like a powerful magnet.
Every single year, millions of devoted Muslims arrive here for the profound Hajj pilgrimage.
Medina, the city that gave the Prophet refuge, stands as a timeless beacon of peace. Long before oil was discovered, this land was a vital hub for ancient incense and spice. The modern state was forged from a deep alliance between the Al Saud family and scholars. A kingdom originally forged by fierce Bedouin warriors fighting in the harsh desert. For decades, daily life was strictly governed by a deeply conservative view of Sharia law. Today, these ancient holy sites are surrounded by towering, multi-billion-dollar skyscrapers. Managing this massive, simultaneous influx of pilgrims is a monumental logistical miracle. The kingdom views itself as the supreme, unyielding custodian of these holy sanctuaries. A sacred duty that grants Saudi Arabia unparalleled influence across the entire Muslim world. They now use state-of-the-art high-speed rail to transport millions of believers safely.
Faith here is not just a religion. It is the absolute rhythm of everyday life.
A spiritual epicenter that pulses endlessly with the energy of over 1 billion followers.
Hit subscribe to continue exploring more of the world's most fascinating histories.
Right now, Saudi Arabia is undergoing a cultural earthquake unlike anything in history.
For centuries, this culture was defined entirely by the quiet, nomadic life of the Bedouins. Just a decade ago, public entertainment like movies or concerts was virtually non-existent. Today, that restrictive reality has been completely and violently shattered into pieces.
Cinemas, banned strictly for 35 years, have rapidly reopened with blockbuster premieres. Massive international music festivals now draw hundreds of thousands of dancing fans.
Modern art galleries and vibrant creative hubs are literally exploding across the major cities.
The strict religious police, who once patrolled the streets, have been stripped of their power.
Shops and restaurants are no longer legally required to shut down 5 times a day for prayers.
The mandatory black abaya for women is gone. Colorful, confident, modest fashion is taking over.
Yet, the kingdom is desperately trying to balance this hyper-modernity with its deep heritage.
The massive population of Saudi youth is incredibly hungry for connection with global culture.
Government-funded entertainment seasons are transforming the quiet winters into massive parties.
It is a truly dizzying blend of the ultra-conservative past and the avant-garde future.
While alcohol remains strictly forbidden, a highly vibrant, premium mocktail culture has emerged.
Oh, the sun is warm today, feel the rhythm of the breeze.
Global entertainment giants are rushing in aggressively to tap into this massive new market.
This is a society racing into the future, rewriting its own strict rules overnight. Want to see where this incredible revolution leads? Hit the subscribe button now. Welcome to one of the very last true absolute monarchies remaining on planet Earth.
In Saudi Arabia, there are no national elections and absolutely no opposition political parties. All political power flows entirely from the House of Saud, the undisputed ruling royal family.
But today, the true, aggressive architect of the country's radical transformation is the Crown Prince. By consolidating massive authority, the current leadership has pushed through rapid, sweeping reforms.
The government controls the vast, endless oil wealth, using it to fund a massive state apparatus.
Absolute security and stability are the ultimate priorities in a highly volatile, dangerous region.
To maintain harmony, the state provides its citizens with heavily subsidized healthcare and education.
It is a grand social contract, immense economic prosperity in exchange for absolute political loyalty. The kingdom boasts one of the most heavily funded and advanced militaries in the entire world. Geopolitically, it is an undeniable heavyweight, historically allied deeply with Western powers. But recently, it has pivoted sharply, forging powerful new strategic ties with China and Russia.
Playing a highly complex game of multipolar diplomacy to secure its own sovereign future. The legal system is still deeply rooted in Sharia, though civil codes are being rapidly modernized.
Political dissent is strictly not tolerated. The state maintains heavy control over media and speech.
It is a highly efficient, top-down system designed to pivot a massive nation at lightning speed. When the crown prince orders an entirely new city to be built, the desert immediately moves. A fascinating, real-time study of absolute power steering a country into the 21st century. Subscribe now to truly understand the hidden forces shaping our complex global future. For decades, one single, incredibly valuable commodity defined this entire nation: black gold. Saudi Arabia controls a truly staggering portion of the entire world's proven oil reserves.
It is the undisputed, heavyweight champion of OPEC, capable of moving global markets instantly.
But they are acutely aware that the oil age will eventually end. The clock is ticking loudly. Enter Vision 2030, the most ambitious, expensive economic overhaul in modern human history.
The ultimate goal is simple: completely break the kingdom's heavy addiction to oil revenues.
They are pouring hundreds of billions into luxury tourism, aiming directly for the global elite.
Investing massively in artificial intelligence, cutting-edge technology, and green energy infrastructure. Selling shares of the massive state oil company, Aramco, to heavily fund these wild dreams.
Building entire, highly advanced supply chains for electric vehicles right in the middle of the desert. I'm glad we could reach an agreement within the time frame. The tax structure is very competitive. Indeed, we're excited to establish our headquarters here, transforming the entire country into an unavoidable, hyper-efficient global logistics hub.
The Sovereign Wealth Fund, PIF, is now one of the most aggressive, wealthy investors on Earth.
Unlocking vast, completely untapped mineral wealth buried deeply beneath the ancient rocks.
Transitioning rapidly to a fully cashless society, successfully leaping over legacy banking systems. Even securing absolute food sovereignty in a harsh land with almost no natural water supply. Fostering an entirely new generation of hungry local entrepreneurs and brilliant tech startups. It is a massive, high-stakes gamble, transforming a trillion-dollar economy at lightning speed.
If Vision 2030 succeeds, it will permanently rewrite the economic history of the Middle East. Subscribe now to follow the massive money flows and the future of global economics.
Out of a population of roughly 35 million, the vast majority are under the age of 30.
This is a highly educated, digitally native generation eager to join the competitive global workforce.
But look closer, and you will realize nearly 1/3 of the population isn't Saudi at all.
Millions of dedicated expatriates form the absolute backbone of the entire physical infrastructure.
If we target the LCL receptor sequence here, the replication stabilizes.
That explains the neural response we saw in the trials.
It really is incredible how diverse it's become. Absolutely. Riyadh and Jeddah are vibrant melting pots now.
However,
The fundamental rules of the economic game are changing incredibly fast. The government is aggressively pushing a strict labor policy, known locally as Saudization.
Legally forcing companies to replace foreign workers with highly capable local Saudi citizens.
We should grab coffee before the next lecture.
Sounds good. I heard Professor Davies is assigning the group projects today.
Already? Well, let's aim for the library around 2.
For expats, the once tax-free haven is changing, with new taxes and rising living costs.
But historic, sweeping labor reforms are finally dismantling the highly restrictive sponsorship system.
The local youth are proudly stepping up, eagerly taking roles they once considered beneath them.
From skilled baristas to visionary CEOs, the actual face of the Saudi workforce is transforming.
This immense demographic pressure is a ticking clock, heavily driving the massive economic reforms.
A fascinating, delicate balancing act between empowering eager locals and needing top global talent.
Subscribe now to clearly see how complex societies adapt to a rapidly changing modern world.
For decades, it was the only country on Earth where women were strictly legally banned from driving.
The sheer scale of the social revolution for women in Saudi Arabia has been completely explosive.
The infamous guardianship system, which required male permission for basic life choices, was gutted. Women can now freely obtain passports and travel internationally completely independently.
The results from the thermal cycler are ready. Bring them over, let's analyze the amplification curves. I'm seeing a strong signal here.
Female participation in the workforce skyrocketed massively to over 34% in record time. You now routinely see women proudly in the military, as strict border guards, and as train conductors.
They are confidently leading massive corporations and proudly representing the kingdom as ambassadors.
Women are now competing ferociously on the global stage, from tennis courts to the Olympics.
But the massive legal and societal barriers that held them back have been systematically destroyed.
They even proudly sent the very first Saudi female astronaut up to the International Space Station.
Unlocking the immense potential of half the population is the ultimate, powerful engine for Vision 2030.
Make no mistake, the true future of Saudi Arabia is now being actively built by its women.
Subscribe now to closely witness how complex societies powerfully evolve and break massive barriers.
It sounds exactly like pure science fiction, but they are actually trying to build it in reality.
Welcome to NEOM, a staggering $500 billion mega project, roughly the entire size of Belgium. And the absolute crown jewel of the NEOM project is a massive city simply called The Line.
A terrifyingly massive linear city, 170 kilometers long and only 200 meters wide.
Designed purposefully to have absolutely no roads, zero cars,
and run entirely on renewable energy. Completely enclosed in towering mirrored walls, standing a staggering 500 meters above sea level.
It proudly promises to eventually house up to 9 million residents in a climate-controlled utopia.
A massive high-speed rail will allegedly transport you from end to end in just 20 minutes.
Skeptical critics call it an absolutely impossible pipe dream, or a terrifying ecological nightmare.
Look here at the structural support on level 3. Right, I'm adjusting the model now. We must ensure compliance before proceeding.
NEOM is not just the line. It also boldly includes Oxagon, an immense floating industrial city,
and Sindala, an ultra-luxury, high-end island destination floating perfectly on the beautiful Red Sea.
The ultimate goal is to create a massive hub for global innovation, completely detached from oil.
Deeply integrating advanced artificial intelligence into absolutely every single aspect of daily life.
It is undeniably the most audacious, wildly expensive construction project in all of human history. Current reports heavily suggest the actual budget could eventually spiral wildly into trillions of dollars.
Scaling the project back might be entirely necessary, but the sheer ambition remains completely wild. Will it become a dystopian surveillance state? Or the ultimate shining savior of urban living? Only time will truly tell if they can forcefully bend the harsh desert to their futuristic will.
Subscribe now to carefully keep track of the most insane, massive engineering projects on Earth.
A massive, high-end winter sports resort, located directly in the middle of the Arabian desert.
This is Trojena, a highly ambitious part of the massive, sprawling NEOM mega project. Situated high in mountains where temperatures actually drop well below freezing in the deep winter. They are literally building a massive, artificial freshwater lake directly into the massive mountain crater. It is so wildly ambitious that Saudi Arabia won the rights to host the Asian Winter Games right here.
But if freezing snow isn't your thing, head directly to the outskirts of Riyadh, to Qiddiya.
Qiddiya is being aggressively designed to be the absolute, undisputed capital of global entertainment.
Here we go! Oh wow, look at that speed! This is incredible!
Set perfectly to be the absolute longest, tallest, and fastest roller coaster in the entire world.
They are rapidly building immense, world-class water parks and luxury safari complexes side by side.
Pouring billions upon billions into heavily terraforming the desert into a massive playground for the world.
Look at the detail on that carving up there. It's absolutely stunning.
I know, the resolution on this shot is incredible.
The aggressive strategy is to completely stop wealthy Saudis from spending their tourist dollars abroad.
This is incredible!
Oh wow, look at the view!
I want to go again!
Creating a completely surreal, massive Disney-level empire directly out of the empty desert sand.
Saudi Arabia is utterly determined to become the absolute ultimate global tourist destination.
Subscribe now to carefully explore the incredible future of extreme travel and global entertainment.
They say money talks. But in the high-stakes world of global sports, massive Saudi money truly roars.
The kingdom has unleashed a massive, undeniable shockwave across the entire global sporting landscape.
luring megastars like Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar with absolutely mind-boggling, record-shattering contracts.
They aggressively disrupted the quiet, genteel world of golf, heavily funding the controversial LIV Golf Tour.
Securing massive long-term deals to host incredibly terrifying, high-speed Formula One night races. And successfully bringing the absolute biggest heavyweight boxing title fights directly from Vegas to Riyadh.
Their ultimate, crowning prize? Successfully and aggressively securing the bid for the FIFA World Cup.
But they are not merely stopping at physical sports. They want to absolutely dominate the digital realm too.
Saudi Arabia is investing billions to rapidly become the undisputed global capital of competitive esports.
Hosting the massive Esports World Cup with unprecedented, absolutely record-breaking global prize pools.
Critics in the West frequently and loudly label this highly aggressive strategy simply as sports washing,
claiming it is a massive attempt to forcefully distract and rapidly rebrand the nation's global image.
But internally, officials strongly argue they are simply fulfilling the massive demands of their youth. Heavily backed by the multi-billion-dollar sovereign wealth fund, the aggressive spending is virtually limitless.
They are rapidly buying heavily into global tennis, mixed martial arts, and massive team ownerships.
It is an incredibly massive exercise in soft power, firmly making the kingdom an unavoidable cultural hub.
rapidly redrawing the entire map of global entertainment, violently moving the epicenter to the Middle East.
The global game has fundamentally changed forever, and Saudi Arabia is forcefully writing the new rules.
Subscribe now to carefully see how multi-billion-dollar moves radically change the global sports we love.
To truly and deeply know Saudi Arabia, you absolutely have to sit down and taste it. This beautiful mountain of food is kabsa, the absolutely undeniable national dish of the kingdom. A deeply fragrant mountain of rice, mixed perfectly with ancient spices and highly tender, slow-cooked meat.
Traditionally served heavily on a massive platter, it is deeply meant to be eaten together, sitting on the floor.
And you must strictly remember, you must always eat with your right hand. The left is considered unclean.
Hospitality here is absolutely legendary, and it always begins with a warm cup of Arabic coffee, or qahwa.
It is always perfectly paired with incredibly sweet, sticky dates to beautifully balance the strong flavor.
Sweetest melons right here.
Yeah.
Get your spices, we have the best cumin.
Yes.
2 for 1 on the oranges today.
Deep, highly rich influences from India, Africa, and the Levant have beautifully merged into the local street food.
But step carefully into modern Riyadh, and you will immediately find an absolutely booming third-wave coffee culture.
The massive youth population is incredibly obsessed with perfect specialty lattes, modern bakeries, and high-end dining.
Credible Michelin star chefs from completely around the entire world are rapidly opening massive outposts in the kingdom.
It is a highly complex society, where deeply rooted ancient tradition casually walks perfectly hand in hand with modernity.
Mira, papi, qué hermosura.
Felicidades a todos.
Increíble.
Subscribe now to carefully explore more absolutely incredible cultures and highly beautiful flavors from around the globe.
Welcome completely to the highly elite, incredibly expensive world of purebred Saudi falconry. Historically absolutely essential for harsh hunting in the highly barren desert, simply just to survive. Today, it is a highly exclusive, multi-million-dollar passion of the ultra-wealthy elite and powerful royal classes. They are so deeply revered, they even get their very own official passports to fly safely in commercial plane cabins. But make absolutely no mistake, the true, deeply undisputed king of the desert remains the camel.
Every single year, a truly massive, sprawling festival is held entirely and exclusively dedicated to camel beauty pageants.
Highly critical judges look deeply for perfect posture, beautifully shaped massive humps, and highly droopy lips.
It is so incredibly, fiercely competitive that strict authorities actually use massive X-rays to catch owners using illegal Botox.
Camel racing is also an incredibly high-stakes, hyper-fast sport, now exclusively utilizing highly advanced robotic jockeys.
And then there are the deeply legendary Arabian horses, prized globally for their absolute endurance and striking beauty. When they are not directly dealing with beautiful animals, the highly energetic youth head to the massive dunes for extreme off-roading.
Dune bashing is a truly national, massive pastime, perfectly blending highly modern mechanics with the eternal, massive sand.
The projected constellations match the real ones perfectly.
Look, Orion's belt is just above the ridge.
No matter how incredibly futuristic the cities become, the absolute true soul of the entire nation belongs perfectly to the sand. Subscribe now to carefully discover the absolutely fascinating, deeply ancient traditions that flatly refuse to be forgotten.